Welcome back to the channel today, guys. And first things first, I want to sincerely apologize for vanishing, but I'm back and I am currently global #1. I reset at third global, which is super impressive. So yeah, I am officially pushing for first global this season. Yep, you heard it here first. So I got a 320 today, and I'm going to review those hits. 309 yesterday, unfortunately. So yeah, for those of you that are new to the channel, this is Destro, and I am doing Fireball RootRiders in Legends League, not Spirit Walk, Mass Invis, RootRiders, or any other thing. So yeah, this is going to be a review of my 8 hits. I don't know, I'll guide you guys through it. I don't know why I've not been able to do a full guide video. I'm just lazy about that. But yeah, let's guide you guys through this. So first things first, the double poison ring base. You see some of this in Legends League, and then there's fireball value everywhere. Here, 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 here. So you just choose the best one, and I chose here. Why? Because it is behind the spitters. That's why I'm dropping my Warden. Why am I taking so long to scout? Obviously, it's a tough base, but yeah. I landed my fireball on this X-bow because it gets the crusher motor. You guys know how much I love getting the crusher motor in through my fireball. And then I got the spitter as well. So then the second spitter, we just go in behind it. And then that's chill. So 2 invis. I didn't even use my ice block spell. 2 invis, 2 quakes. Voila. I warden walked the multi. That's one beautiful thing about warden walk. You can just do fireball and then warden walk, or you can do warden walk and then fireball after. So yeah. Now wait, take a look at my warden. This is one thing you guys should note. I hear a lot of people saying their warden dies too after the fireball. But yeah, you can see this X-bow is locked onto my warden. And then after your fireball, there's almost always a defense that's locked onto your warden, especially X-bows. So be very, very careful. I think here I invised him. And then this is another reason why he keeps the healers. If the damage remains on him, he's going to keep the healers with him. So yeah, I've already dropped my king, dropped my ice golem, and then you can see traps are there. So I just invised him immediately, and then honestly, if I didn't invis him, he may have died to those traps with the X-bow fire. So yeah, drop my king, ice golem, RootRiders, and then my RC last. You guys know that. And I think I made a mistake here. My king went along the outside, which was bad. So yeah, overgrowth on the town hall. You need to go in and around the base. We've taken out the second spitter. The second spitter, none of the spitters fired at all. King went back in luckily, and then he went back out again, and I think he went back in again. Bro was just very confused. So yeah, poison through, and then that's when I mostly dropped my heal spell. Dropped my heal spell there. Healers are finally catching up since the beginning of my hit. Can you imagine? I also dropped my ice block spell. This is something I don't know. It's not really needed, but an ice block spell with your heal on top, just make sure your troops are taking less damage and then they are taking the heal in at the same time. So your king ability has been popped because the overgrowth expires. I can't say that thing enough. Once your overgrowth expires, you try to use your king ability to take care of those buildings, and then everything went into the core. Thankfully, if they didn't go into the core, I just used my RC ability. So yeah, everybody was done with the core, and then time to pop my RC space so she doesn't hide out in front. Clearing up the rest of the buildings. These 2 enemy heroes left, so I think I sent my headhunters, but they would have see them late to the party, which is my fault. And then finally, back end of the base was left. Back end ice golem. I have 2 ice golems. First one is for my army, and then second one is either for my queen. If my queen is going into too much damage, I send her along the outside. For those of you that don't know, if I don't use it early on, I'm most likely going to use it for the back end to clear back end defenses. So yeah, first base in the bag. Let's see how the rest of my hits went. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Mark D Helm car. I don't know if I pronounced that right. But yeah, double poison, box base once again. And how do I take this down for those of you that know? I just do a bit of a warden walk, and you can see this warden walk, simple warden walk into here. Now, this is a part of the base. For those of you that do spirit walk, this is a part of the base you would not dare go into because it may most likely be trapped. You can see the Giga Bomb in there as well, but it's a warden walk with 2 furnaces. You can go into any spirit walk bit and survive it. So sorry. That's exactly what I did here, and I think I spent a very, very few amount of spells. Did I even use spells for the warden at all? I would warden walk that entire compartment. And what I do on this box base is for landing in the core, I just do a bit of a warden walk here, and then I just invis, and fireball and get the core. That is decent parting. So let's go. Let me speed it up a bit. I think I took the scatter shot, and I also took the crusher. You can see I warden walk the crusher motor. I didn't use a single spell. If it was a spirit walk, heaven knows how many spells you would have used. So 1 time speed, and then I've done that. So ice block spell in place, invis to the left side, invis to the right side. I added one more invis so that I can get deeper into the core and then clear off the entire core. Take a look. How many spells did we use? 1 invis, that's 2 invis, then double quick. No, 3 invis, double quick. That's 5 spells, and then an ice block spell. That is 6 spells. And take a look at the value I got to my warden. So that's why honestly it's better than the spirit walk for me. Ice block spell, can see take a look at it again. I invised my Warden to make sure he doesn't die. So be very careful of your Warden immediately you're done with before the Warden walk, during the Warden walk, after the Warden walk. Be careful. I think he has the lowest. He has like just 2000 HP, so anything can kill him. So be very careful. Now you can see after the Warden walk and the fireball, I'm going into one side of the base. I chose this side. I can also go into here, but I chose here because I'm just going behind one spitter. And then the second spitter, you can see I overgrowth it with the town hall so that I won't receive that damage. Like gets very, very close to them. So yeah, king, everybody's moving well. Queen was popped. Queen ability was popped there with the giant, and then you can see the giant is tanking for her nicely. And yeah, everything is going well. Skeleton spell for the isolated monolith. I won't say that enough. So yeah, everything is moving nicely. King is still in there, but I think he went outside before the overgrowth expired. Maybe that overgrowth was late. So try to pop your overgrowth. Perfect timing on it. More practice, you'll be able to time it perfectly. Heal spell because why not? I think the poison will soon throw. And yeah, I think my RC was low, so I just popped it. So everything was moving nicely. It was just remaining to go around the base. So you can see once you are done. Oh, where's my pen? Once you're done with your Warden walk and your fireball, all that's left is to just go around the base. This is how most box bases. These are most bases are. So yeah, just going around here. I think my healers died thanks to there was a red bomb farm, but yeah, I still had my king ability intact at this point, so I just popped it and cleared off the rest of the base. So backend ice golem again for those remaining two buildings. It is very, very simple. So next base, Dark on top. I think Dark on top was also doing fireball RootRiders, but I think he was using either an angry jelly or I don't know what he's using currently, but yeah, this is a rage and invis base. For those of you that are familiar with the channel, you know how I take these ones out. Just do a bit of Warden walk and then fireball straight into the core. So I saw my Warden walk position and it was very direct. You can see the spitters are pointing in this direction. I think I took so long to think because I was also thinking of fireballing the crusher motor because it gets decent value on the CC building, but obviously it's not the best. So I just decided to Warden walk inside here. And yeah, it went nicely. This is now everybody knows if you're using spirit walk or if you use spirit walk, you know this part of the base is going to be baited with spirit walk. But this is why I'm using the Warden walk. Now, first things first, we've seen one Tesla, and there will most likely be a lot of giant bombs here. But this is the Warden walk, and it takes 0 damage to every single one of these traps that are set for the RC because you have a heal spell. You can see another Tesla has popped again. And you can see two heroes here. I'm sure if it was a live hit, you will see I have a free spell on standby in case any of the heroes lock onto my Warden. But the Warden outranges every single one of those heroes, so he can take them out without even aggroing them, but still be very, very careful. And then all these things also tank for him. The Booger, the Fire Mites, also the Rocket Loons tank for that. So you can see we've taken out the 2 heroes. We took out like 3 Teslas. There will most likely be skeleton traps on the ground, but we have the Fire Mites as well to take care of it, so it's not a problem. So once we took out the Spit, and I think I took out the X-Bar as well. Of course, it's firing my Warden. It was just a simple ice block spell and then 2 invis or 3 invis to get into the core. So ice block, 1, 2, and then voila. You can see how many buildings we take down in the core. This is why the Fireball RootRiders is why Fireball is the best equipment in the game. RootRiders are the most broken troop in the game. That is obviously why I'm using the army. I coined it and I just put them together for the best results. That's why I'm top of Legends League. But let me not brag. So yeah, isolated. Would I say multi-gear? These are just single target defenses, so that's why I mostly drop my skeleton spell. You saw the last one I did on the monolith. So yeah, queen along the outside with her giant mostly always joins the inside if there's no defense along the outside to take care of. And then everything is just moving nicely. This Peter, bro, don't know why this Peter range is crazy, but yeah, everybody going in. Final 2 heroes, so I dropped my remaining 2 head-on towers. We're just going around. I use the overgrowth on the town hall, of course, because I just want to go around and then meet it on the back end. Same thing with this crusher motor. But yeah, I have a poison, I have a free spell waiting patiently for it. King ability as well for when the overgrowth expires. So with that, once you get that fireball, all you have to do is go around the base. That's the same thing with almost, you can see the box base I did the same thing. What was the first base I did? Okay, the first one was a ring. So I just did a compartment and went around and then sniped the town hall. I think that those ones are even the hardest ones to get through. But you can see swag, double invis, swag back and ice golem. All 4 heroes still up. I'm sure all my pets were still up. That was my 3rd hit of the day. So let's go into my 4th hit of the day. Cheaper. What base? Double rage box base. This is double rage box base. And then first things first, you can see double rage tower base. I always fireball one of them. And then if you're familiar with the channel, you know I almost always fireball the one with the crusher motor. So I went into here and I also saw that the fireball on the scatter shot, you can see there's only 4 tile gap in between the scatter shot and the crusher motor, and then in between the scatter shot and the what's it called, the CC building, there's only 3 tiles, so it can take care of it can handle those two things, which is very, very beautiful. So I did that, just a bit of a Warden work. I didn't even drop my furnaces. I just did because I didn't want anything to pull the CC or anything funny. Immediately I cleared that. I just ice block in place. Simple invis. 1, 2, and then fireball on the scatter shot. Simple as that. Quicked, and then I've taken out that. Then watch out again. My Warden has finished his Warden work, but he's going to be targeted by defenses. So you have to be very careful of that. And that's a raged expo. That's a Rico. There were now traps as well. So I just froze immediately. We're not taking any chances. Never. This is like, okay, this is the fourth hit. The first two, I dropped an invis for my Warden immediately after the Warden work. If you don't do that, I think I also dropped an invis here because he locked onto the minion prince. You can see I wanted to go into this part of the base. I skeletoned. He went to target the minion prince. So I used an invis on him. So be very, very careful of your Warden immediately after the Warden work as well. So now we're going into the second rage tower compartment. I could have gone from here, but I chose to go in from here because I can just overgrowth some of the defenses in the rage tower. That helps. And then a heal spell as well because my healers are not switching. You can see this. There was a RootRider that was on 1 HP. You can see it's healing up with the healers and also the heal spell. That's good since I don't have the Eternal Toe. Queen is moving nicely along the outside with a head on top for take out the enemy king. But yeah, things are moving nicely. Now, the overgrowth was, well, I say it was a bit late because my king went outside. He likes queen outside, so I can't even blame the overgrowth on being late. But yeah, overgrowth expired. King was not in the core to pop his ability, so I just invised, made sure RC went back in. If she was not going back in, I would have just popped her spear. Or I even popped her spear, yeah. To take care of the rest of the core, since King decided to go along the outside, poison, since I took out the CC, poison for the remaining 2 heroes, or there was a minion prince on the back end, but yeah, just going in and around the base, and you can see we've taken care of the base, just clean up at this point. King ability, red bomb farm was inside. Where's my Sneezy? Okay, Sneezy died here. So yeah, it was just clean up at this point. RC moving nicely, and voila. Maybe the minion prince killed my RC and my Warden, but obviously you can see the base is gone. Going around the base is just the objective at that point. Next, TC 1010. I don't think any of my hits was even close. That's to tell you how strong the army is. Okay, this is a double poison diamond once again. These are one of the toughest bases. So be very, very careful. So first, what did I do? On a normal day, I can try to fireball into the core, but the fireball on this core is just, you can see, just a Rico that is in the core. So try to aim for spell towers at this point because those are the most stacked parts of the base after that. So going to 6 o'clock again, you can see a Tesla farm. This is beautiful bait for a spirit walk, but that is why we're not using a spirit walk. We are using a Warden walk, and then my Warden can easily take care of these defenses with, that's a 4th Tesla now. With the fire might, that's 5 Teslas. So 5 Teslas in this compartment, and we cleared it. I'm sure we cleared it in less than a minute. So this, and then there will obviously be ground traps for the RC, but not a problem for us. Fire mites, Sneezy. I just did a simple fireball, 1, 2, and then fireball on the multi inferno. That gets the scatter as well. I used one quick. Wow. Maybe because I was fast. Scatter shots mostly take 2 quicks if there's a builder hot close to it. But yeah, I was fast with that one. Took out the RCI again. You can see she didn't aggro us, but I'm sure my freeze was on standby. Then we're going into here, and I'm sure that Expo locked onto my Warden once again. So we have to be careful. I'm most likely going to use another invis. So almost all my hits, except for maybe the dark on top base, I have used an invis on my Warden immediately after the Warden walk. So be very, very careful of that. Here, a furnace has already, or a fire mite has already gone on it, so it's most likely going to take it down. Or I think I will just drop extra stuff. So skeleton for the isolated monolith. I think, are you okay? I used the freeze this time instead of an invis, maybe because of the monolith as well. But yeah, that was nice. Overgrowth on the town hall. We'll come back for it. Same thing we did on that first base we faced. You can see similar things in the heat. All you have to do is follow the principles of the army, and it's almost the same thing for every single, for double poison diamond, double poison box, blah 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 blah. So yeah, poison spell, triple ice golem CC, which is sad. I don't know why it's in triple ice golem CC. Okay, that's just to stall up your stuff here. But you can see heal spell because my healers were stuck behind. So heal spell for these RootRiders here, but I think they still died because that enemy king hits like crazy. I tried to use invis here. Did I use it? No, I just popped king ability. Overgrowth had expired, and then you can see the crusher mortar. Be very very careful of the crusher mortar. Just pop your RC spear. The combo of the, what's that guy called? The king and then the RC spear takes out the crusher mortar nicely. So yeah, head on task for the remaining heroes. RC took out the minion prince. This one's tag team the enemy king, and then see my back end ice golem once again was for this multi gear, but I didn't drop it well, so it went for the wizard tower, and then it killed my RC. But yeah, we had our king and queen, and then the rest of our troops moving in and around. So that was also a triple. Let's go into the, is that the 6th one? Yes, 6th one. OP. Did I say OP or OP? Another region. This is the same base. Yeah, it's the same one, but it's just rotated. So I most likely did the exact same thing. Let's check it out. Warden walk where? Yeah, warden walk over here. So furnace left side, right side of my warden. Enemy heroes once again. I think this one, my warden got locked onto with the by the queen, but I have my freeze on standby, so I'm not afraid. See, the tornado is also there. Let me slow it down now. Yeah, so freeze. I didn't even want to take any chances, even though she was super low. But yeah, I think after that builder hot, I was able to just do two invis, simple invis. One, two. I think I also cleared out another tower that was here. So be very, very careful of buildings along the outside. That's why I have the rocket loan. Some people try to edit the army to remove the rocket loans or to remove the furnaces. But see, this is an army I've cooked. If you check the channel, I've been using this army for like 2 seasons or so. And even before that, I always practice a lot of other armies. So I have tailored the army for the best every single scenario for the rocket loans, the furnaces. If you can also still edit it according to your taste, but I have everything I need and everything that is needed to make the strategy take out every single base very well. So heal spell because I don't know why. Healers are lagging behind. Maybe that's why I dropped my heal spell. RootRiders are healing now. Valks or super barbs along the outside to just keep clearing stuff. We're going around the core of the base once again. The pathing is just that's what the warden does. Once the warden sets good pathing, at that point, I think this pattern is set. At that point, it's just to go around and make sure your troops are going nicely, staying inside the base, especially that king that likes moving outside. So yeah, at this point, I think king ability. Where's my freeze? Okay, I use this freeze on the queen. If not, I'll just use it on that crusher motor. But yeah, king ability once again. The spiky once the spiky hits it and I think the spear, one shot and it's gone. See, everything went low. I think this crusher motor also took out my warden. That's the first. It always first thing it takes out is the apprentice warden, then the warden, before it starts taking out RootRiders, then heroes. But yeah, back end that's golem once again. He didn't do the most, but it's always good to have it if you're not using it on your queen. So let's go into the 7th hit of the day. King Akalanka. Okay, this is kind of a popular base. This is a box base. So what are we doing? We're fireballing into the core of the base. But take a look at this fireball. On that other hit, I went in from here with my warden and then invis, and fireball here. But from here, you can see the fireball value from here is not the best. I'm not even sure if you get the crusher motor. So there's another alternative because most times you can always warden work any flank. You can warden work here, you can warden work here, you can warden work here, you can warden work here. Rare cases you warden work here and here, but these 4 parts so that you can just place a simple invis to here and then take out the core. So my plan for the fireball was just to take out the builder hot and then clear the splitter and all these things. But I think I overdid an invis and I placed it on the poison tower and I also took the CC building as well. But I didn't take the splitter, which was, would I say, troublesome. But yeah, you guys will see. So just a warden work here, clearing out that compartment, the expo. I was sprinkling rocket loans, of course. I've used all my rocket loans. Yeah, I just checked it out because multi-archer tower, that's the best way to negate damage from the multi-archer tower. I think some people are surprised I don't use a rage for my warden work. But yeah, you can actually tailor. That's why I have a freeze. That's why I have a couple of invises. That's why I have rocket loans. I think I learned that from Jatin though, because that guy can do 11 invis warden work. He doesn't use a free spell. He won't use a rage spell at all. So yeah, Ice Golem first in front, then my RootRiders, then my King. RC always last. Queen would most likely come in now. Along the outside, popped the arrow, took out the defenses, and also brought out the giant. So yeah, overgrowth on this splitter that I didn't take out. This splitter that I was pointing at, because both of them would have been pointing on me. You don't want that. You never want to be kicked in between 2 splitters. That's just recipe for destruction. But yeah, King was moving nicely. I think King was the one that stayed close to the overgrowth that was supposed to expire. That is the job of these Kings quick. So yeah, moving nicely into the base. Everybody was going there. King went here. Perfect timing. I think the overgrowth popped now. So just pop his ability, clear off the core. Everybody else is moving along the outside. And it's just clean up at this point. You can see I have a freeze, invis, and a poison spell. I dropped the poison spell for the enemy RC so that she would jump the wall. But okay, she jumped the wall, but I don't think the king went to take her out. Maybe he died. But the giant eventually took her out. We're just going around the base at this point. This is where the spirit walk traps are. We don't care, because we are not doing a spirit walk. So pop RC ability, let her clear off the rest of the base. And guys, swag, freeze, and invis. I think I swagged also a lot of spells. Like none of the hits were close. That's what happens when you don't make any mistakes at all. Like if you don't make any mistake on this strategy, you most likely triple every single base. Keep your warden alive. That's the first guy. That guy is the first to die. So if you can keep your warden alive, you've solved 90% of your problems. The remaining 10% is just funneling and keeping that king inside the core of the base. So this was my final hit of the day. Dizzy Ueta, I think he's a pro player. Was he at the World Championship? I don't know. But yeah, this is most likely a World Championship base. I think I did a simple fireball for the Expo. I was also planning to do a fireball on this builder hut, but I was like, nah, there are too many heroes here, and then the Warden work would be a bit more complicated. So I went for a simple fireball on the Expo. That clears me scatter shot, Expo, poison, and then spit at. That's really good value. And then I just went into the core of the base. Let me speed it up. Oh, I think, yeah, I did a simple warding walk and then simple fireball and then another simple warding walk to follow up. Wait, I didn't want to just send my troops into here. I could have done that, but I said my warden can actually just take these buildings by himself. No need, and I had time. No need to just drop my troops immediately. So I just took out the multi-archer tower and then just start. That was when I sent my troops. Queen along the outside, king going inside, everybody moving nicely. This monolith took out my. Okay, I took out one and then last one was on one. Second one was on 1 HP. Excuse me. Second one was on 1 HP, but we have, I don't know if I said that, but I have a 4th Root Rider. For those of you that are complaining 3 Root Riders is too small, I have a 4th Root Rider in my CC now as well. So yeah, Overgrowth expired, so Invis. Once the Overgrowth expires, I think the first thing that this week, especially this week, was in the core, very, very annoying. Always locked onto my Warden. So now I've started having an Invis on standby if I have one left, of course. So here, you can see the Crusher Motor again. Spiky Ball has hit it once. I think my RC spell will just clear it off. Remaining just one shot. I think I had a quick here. So remaining as heroes, all 4 heroes were here. So I just dropped the skeleton spell and then the multi-gear. So every single one of my heroes is still up. I think my queen was the only one that died eventually. I still had the freeze and invis at this point. So it was GG. The bases were tough, but the strategy is tougher. So yeah, this is my 320 from today. If I try to start reviewing my 309 from yesterday, I think that would take me years. That'll be a very long time for the video. But let me show Invincible LG. You guys should know Invincible LG. So let me show my trip. And also Igor. Igor is dark. So maybe I'll show my triples on both of them and we would go nicely. This is a Rage and Poison base. Bro, this base is tough. It was tough. I think I even took my entire 30 seconds to plan it. I went for a Warden walk into the town hall. Why? Because you can't go from the far side and try to fireball into the... Wait, I can actually fireball this ricochet cannon and I will get good value. Okay, maybe this one. So Warden work here, but you can see there's a Rico, there are 2 expos. It will be a tough one. Maybe I'll just drop a skeleton to make sure that my Warden does not die. Then I'll invis, fireball. Okay, that would have been good as well. But I went for a fireball into a Warden walk into the town hall, which is risky. It was super risky. Could also be time exhausting. So I ended up using 1 quick for the town hall. Plus there are 3 builder halls behind the town hall. That would take ages. So I Warden walked the town hall with 1 quick. I ended up using only 1 quick to take out or to fireball into the core, which means I didn't take out the Ricos in the core. But it was just a bad. When you have 30 seconds to plan on some bases, you just do the first thing that comes to your mind. And this was the first thing that came to my mind. Multi-gear on my... See, this is one thing that if you are going into it, your freeze and your invis is not even on standby. Just use it. Because if you keep it on standby alone, bro, you will die. Your Warden will die. So just use it. So invis again, because that 4 shots of the town hall were on my Warden. So I just did that. Then Warden was locked onto it. Why did I freeze? Maybe I was afraid of my Warden dying. But I just quaked as well. And then also took it out, which was nice. Then after that, I just ice blocked and then invis. I think I had only like 2 invis left. Can you imagine? Which was risky because imagine if my fireball went this way. So I think I will do a different plan next time if I see base. Oh yeah, that was decent fireball value. I didn't get the Rico, but not the end of the world. So yeah, we're falling into... Wait, I took out that Rico. Why didn't I just... That Spitter. Why didn't I just go into this Spitter? Maybe because of the Giga Bomb. I don't know. So yeah, Queen along the outside. I've popped the arrow. Ice Golem would pop because it was the first thing I dropped. Then King, then RootRiders, blah, blah, blah. Crusher Motor in the core. Always overgrowth it. If not... Actually, see... Let me not even give you guys my base building tip. But yeah, you guys get the drill. We're just going around at this point. Isolated Monolith at 12 o'clock. So I most likely use the skeleton spell there. Poison for the CC. Heal spell because see my healer. Just take a look at these healers. See where my healers are. So this is why I have the heal spell instead. So you can use the rage. Some people are asking if the heal spell is really necessary. You can use the rage spell. You can use a second over. No, I don't advise a second. I don't advise any other thing. Bro, you just use my army, please. Learn how to use my army. But yeah, use a second over. You can use a second overgrowth, but when you're doing an extensive Warden walk and you're using 2 overgrowths, that's time. You are playing with time on almost every single one of your hits. So I don't advise it. Then using a rage, sometimes you need to heal because you can see the way my healers were left behind. You need something to heal your troops, which is going to be the healer, the heal spell. Also, sometimes you need something to heal the healers, which is going to be the heal spell. So that's why it's the best. If not, you can always use find 2 other spells that work for you. If you do practice with the army and you see something else is lacking, you can always remove the heal spell and then add that. So yeah, This was my final hit of the day, most likely with tension, of course. That's why everything was. Oh no, this is not my final. This is Invincible LG. What am I saying? Bro, I'm yapping. Oh well, just make sure to like, subscribe. I would do live hits on my other ID. I've not done hits on my other account. So I will do that. I should still be first global. So yeah, see you guys and ciao.